Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both the match attending and an international supporters view. In this week's episode, we'll review the Wolves game from Saturday. We look forward to the Bodo Glimt Champions League match tomorrow on Tuesday the 30th, and then the next Premier League match versus Leeds next weekend. Tonight I'm without Glenn, who is on vacation in Vietnam, but I am joined by a returning guest, Magne, with a special eye on tomorrow's match. A lot to get through. Let's get into it.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Welcome back, Magne.
Thank you very much. I'm fine, actually. Just been home from a couple of days vacation in the Norwegian mountains.
Very nice. I think the last time we spoke was before the semi-final second leg. So the away leg, right? I think it was the away first. It was away second, wasn't it?
Away second. We spoke twice.
So, yeah. And I think the day that we recorded, or at least the day after, you were on television in Norway.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember. I watched it. I even translated it into English so I could understand the conversation.
It was actually the morning news show from the national broadcaster equal to the BBC. So it was quite a big thing.
Yeah,
and I was able to shout "Come on, you Spurs" on Norwegian
national
radio.
Television. Love it. Who was the lady? She was one from the Bodo Glimt supporters club.
She was a Bodo Glimt supporter and also a Man United supporter. So she was like hoping for everything. I wasn't.
And it wasn't a good season for her in general.
Well, it turned out bad, but yeah, I was really. She was loud before we got into the studio, and not so loud afterwards. So it was a good day.
And I also understand. I think from when we spoke a bit before the recording that you've been following Bodo for the Norwegian media as well.
Yes, not too much, but I covered the first Champions League game at Slavia Prague.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, first group stage game. So I haven't seen them. I've seen them recently in international competition. So it was interesting. Some notes.
Good to hear it. So I guess first thing we should probably do is cover off the Wolves match from Saturday. So I had the misfortune of going to that. It was, I hate, and I've reinforced when I say this, I hate the 8 p.m. Saturday games for television. Because Saturday nights is not for football. It's Saturday afternoons is for football. But so it's not even like the 5:30 game. An 8 o'clock game means I got home at like 20 past midnight. It's not pleasant. I'm not a big fan. And also when the football wasn't great either.
I can imagine. I actually like it because my children are so young, so I can put them to bed and then calm down with the game and TV.
Distractions.
So late kickoffs are good for my watching, but
I don't have that issue anymore. Yeah,
but I can't imagine they put games so late that people won't catch the last train. It's like it shouldn't be like that.
And it's even worse. Like I mean, it's happened before. Like Newcastle, we've been like a 5:30 game in Newcastle, or even later. There's like an 8 o'clock game in Newcastle, and then you just literally can't get a train home. You either drive or you stay over. It's not awful. Yeah, they really. And for all of the talk, they really don't care about the supporters. It's all about TV revenue. They don't.
Yeah.
Never mind. Anyway, about the game itself. Obviously, Tottenham won, Wolves won with a very late equaliser by João Palhinha, which I was very grateful for because I hadn't had very much to cheer about the whole match. Wolves had lost their first five matches before that, so this was their first point of the season. And I guess for Spurs, a day of frustration, dominating in parts, a ruled out goal in the first half, that kudos, the offside goal. Looked pretty tight from me, but then I was the other end of the stadium, so I'm not a great judge of that. And I think the second half we were awful. We just lacked cutting edge. Didn't see there was a lot of players that I thought had really subpar games. Individual performances were bad. And I think Thomas Frank talked afterwards about more composure in the box, averting chances. But I don't think we made enough chances. I don't think that. I think that wasn't even. I think to get into a position where we were taking chances, we didn't do that often enough either.
No, I actually liked the first half quite a bit. I think it was all right. I have this issue with the Wolves games. We always seem to play bad. The results have been quite bad against Wolves recently,
Yeah.
but even before that, we always played badly. So, like, I remember, like, the game Jan Vertonghen scored it over the last stoppage time winner. Okay, we won, but still played really badly. And also this game, a lot of years ago, Lucas Moura was on fire in the first half. We were 2-0 up at halftime. Or 3-0 up sometime, but just managed to like stumble into 3-2 victories. Even the victories against Wolves are bad.
I particularly remember a Boxing Day Wolves game where we lost 1-0, I think. I mean, again, we just don't know what it is about them. I think the difference between the first half and second half is they switched to a different formation and we just never really got to grips with it. I think we really struggled. I think they went to a back five, which was the first time they hadn't played that all season. And when they started the game, it was about 4, and then they switched it. And I think we just weren't prepared for that.
Yeah, it was, but I like the first half quite. We made some chances, like you said, in this tight offside call and stuff. But after the break, everything was really, really terrible. Maybe players were trying to rush it too much because Wolves players kept, after they scored, they made a lot of situations. There were lots of stop, play. Very little football was played, I think. Every time we had the ball, with players try to make it happen a bit too fast, I think. So there were stressed people all over the place. So, yeah, we had... Did
you see any particular weaknesses in the team? For me, the one that really disappointed me the most was Xavi Simons. I thought he didn't have a very good game at all. He just didn't seem to be on the pace of the game. He just seemed to be, every time he got the ball, he gave the ball away very frequently, and I was a bit disappointed. And again, but I'm not sure we're getting the best out of him on the left, like we played him again.
Oh.
So, then I was surprised at the second half when we brought Odobert on and he moved into the middle. But he did get substituted in the end. But I thought that was more balanced than we'd looked earlier in the match.
Yeah, I think kind of like the things he's trying to do, but he should be doing the things he's doing, but he is not quite there to make it happen yet, I think.
He's not on the same wavelength as the other players. Sometimes there's a couple of times like little back flicks and back heels and stuff he did. We just went to nobody because no one had obviously no one made the run that he was expecting them to make, which was quite interesting.
I guess you just need some time. I guess it's more or less the same with Florian Wirtz in Liverpool. It's maybe in some ways some kind of the same player and came from the Bundesliga as well. And I've seen a couple of Liverpool games this season and he's struggling as well. So
yeah,
yes, it's just an
he's
adaptation
looking like
time.
A very expensive, struggling player at the moment as well.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess it's not his fault how much money they pay for him, but it has to be
but,
weighing on him.
Yeah, but and the Wolves other players, I don't like the Bentancur Palhinha double pivot at home against against I want to say weaker opposition, but opposition who should be weaker.
Yeah, I think. But then in the end, I thought that we ended up having fairly even possession, which I didn't expect at all. I expected us to have a lot more of the ball. But then I think that's partly what you say, like with that double pivot, it's not very. It's really destructive rather than particularly creative. When you've got Palhinha doing what he does, you kind of need someone who's better with the ball alongside him, because otherwise it's very hard to progress the ball through the middle of the pitch, which we seem to struggle with.
Yeah, that's a big problem, I think. And that's like you said, we had a lot of the ball, but couldn't make the big chances, or not too many actually. So I think get the ball to the right people in the right positions is a big issue.
I've really been disappointed with Richarlison as well. After a really good start to the season, he seems to have... Maybe it's because he's playing all the time, because we haven't got a lot of options at the moment, and he's tired. I don't know, but...
I think you really want
to... But yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a kind of guy who's great when he's at 100% fit. If he's like a little bit tired, just 90%, he just disappears. So
there's a lot of theatrics in his game as well. Like he throws himself around a lot, falls over a lot. And sometimes I wish he'd stay on his feet. I think he'd score more goals if he did. But
I think as long as we don't have this great passers in deeper midfield, I think we need our aim is to win more duels, and then we probably should need a little stronger guy than Richarlison up front.
Yeah, because the ball doesn't hold it up very well either.
On his day he does, but not every day.
Doesn't have enough of those days. Yeah.
No, he needs. I think he needs a break. I like him as a player and as a person, but he needs a break.
Yeah, I think this is why I'm hoping that Colin Mwani's back and we can at least start playing him, because I think he played about 5 minutes for us or something. He came on as a sub in a game, and I think that's all he's done. So we are really actually quite excited to see him play. But it's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah.
I think the last time he played for PSG was in the Club World Cup.
Yeah, he hasn't played in the regular
something
season.
like July time.
Yeah,
it was a long time ago.
Yeah, so I don't know
he
how
struggling
fit
for
he
match
is,
fitness.
Probably. Talking about disappointments, I was also really disappointed about Porro. I expected him to make a difference, but he came on, but he took so many bad touches. And I think he was like too fired up, so he couldn't keep himself calm and do his great passing. He's trying too hard to make things happen all the time, and just was a bit of a mess, actually.
I thought that Jed Spence had quite a poor game at right back. And I actually think all of his best games have been at left back for us, which probably is not really where he wants to be playing. But I feel like but now Udogie's back, then it's a much more competitive side compared to the right, where we're with Porro and him. He's probably not likely to get in front of Porro for the big games. I wouldn't have thought. I don't know. It's just one of those ones where you could see Frank put a lot of thought into how he wanted to play. What I didn't see is that when it was clear that it wasn't working in the second half, that I didn't see the changes weren't quick enough to maybe combat the fact that Wolves were playing differently. But we'll see.
To make it sound a little bit better, Wolves had lost 5 games before our meeting, but they were quite unlucky in a lot of those games. They were clearly beaten by Man City, but they played equal to their oppositions in all the other games. They are probably a better team than the table suggests, but I think we should beat them anyway, and at least for once play a good game against them. So,
yeah, we'll have to save it for the away game now. I think there's interesting as well. I think all of our worst performances have been home matches, not away matches. So like the Bournemouth match and the Wolves match, I think probably our 2 worst performances this season. Even the Champions League first game wasn't great either.
That was horrible.
Yeah. So like there's three home matches where we've really been poor.
Yeah.
And they're all games where he's changed the formation specifically for the team, and it just hasn't worked out.
Surprisingly, I was at the stadium for the first game against Burnley. That was a good game, or most of it actually. But then I played Archie Gray from the start. So that was also a surprise how it turned out good, but it was a great result. The game was quite good. The second half of the first half was a little bit bad, but that was by far the best home game of the season.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, apart that's it. Then that's the only other of all the games we played. That's probably and the cup game last week.
Yeah, it wasn't too good either. The first half was okay, but the second half was, what are they doing?
We can make anyone look like prime Brazil, it seems, at home.
Yeah.
Do you think that the performance reveals something deeper? Like, is it just a lack of time with the players training? Because I think that's the other thing, is that there are players in that team who are very recent additions who came in very late in the window, and so he hasn't had a lot of pre-season with them. And this is a Spurs issue, right? Where we always buy players super late in the window because I swear it was always because Daniel Levy didn't want to pay their salaries in the summer, but.
Quite possible.
I think it's always impacted the start to the season because you have these players like we're really reliant on Xavi Simons and Colin Mwani, who obviously hasn't played much yet anyway, but to come in that late, like almost in the last day or so of the transfer window, and then expected to get up to speed with a team that's been training together since July, it feels like a lot, and it puts a lot of extra pressure on the coaching team, I would have thought. Yeah,
you can see Kudus was brought in pretty early, and he's been great, one of our best players. So that was same with James Maddison 2 years ago. Also came in really early, so it obviously helps to get him in early, but it's hard.
I still think as well it does. There is the highlight of the squad depth still isn't good enough. I think there's still weaknesses, and even where we've got players, we've got quite a lot of left wingers or people who can play on the left wing, but I don't think I think we've been spoiled, of course, because we've had Son there for so long that I don't feel like we've got an adequate cover for that, and that's why I was really disappointed we didn't get Savinho when we were, and that doesn't look like that's going to happen now. He signed a new deal at Man City, so was hoping we'd go back in for him in January, but that's not possible. So still on the lookout for someone.
Yep. Oh, but yeah, the deeper issue, I think I'm a little bit concerned that all the games we talked about, we've played a lot of bad games recently, and that's concerning. At the same time, I guess Frank can only do so much in a short period of time.
2 days turnaround between matches you don't get a chance to do a lot of tactical stuff, I wouldn't have thought.
No, and it's obviously prioritized the tightening up the defense, which is a good idea. So creating a nice shape of play in attack is harder. So I appreciate or I acknowledge that will take much more time, but I would like to see a bit of a playing pattern offensive soon.
I think we can definitely say that defensively we've looked better. Although Vicario's had a couple of difficult performances, that was push the ball straight out to the player, and which was.
Yeah, it was a bit
goalkeeping number 101, isn't it? It's like the basics. You always push it away from the goal. And then I think the previous Brighton game, I think the second goal he probably should have done better with.
Yeah, that was a mistake, quite obviously. I think. I have a friend who's a goalkeeper who's always defending the goalkeepers, but he couldn't watch the game because he was drunk in a wedding, but he told me he would save that even drunk in a wedding.
That's a pretty damning indictment. Yeah, so I but I think generally our defense has been better, and also think that our set piece defending and our set piece attacking looks really good. We've got the long throw. It seems to be happening quite frequently now. I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't have an issue with it, but I feel like
it's a bit of an issue. But
I think that we look more like scoring from set pieces than we do from open play at the moment, which is a bit of a worry. So I'm hoping we can unlock a bit of free-flowing attacking football at some point. But I guess I'd settle for not losing games for a few weeks if it meant that we built a strong foundation on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's a lot of new players. Frank, I guess he said it this tonight. Even the front four is completely new from last season. So it will take some time to make them click. Yeah,
I think he named the players who played against. In this match, the Champions League match last season, and it was like completely different 4 players, wasn't it? Solanke and Son and I can't remember who else.
Johnson was starting.
Kulusevski and Johnson, I think, were the starting 4. But yeah. Oh, speaking of which, we'll probably move on to that now. I don't really want to dwell on the Wolves game any much longer. It should be consigned to the history books and stay there indefinitely. But the match tomorrow, so the Bodo Glimt, another 8 p.m. UK time kickoff. So 9 local time for the match. So can you tell us a bit about how their season's gone so far? How are they doing?
Well, they're still in the same season as last time.
Yeah, of course.
So the season is approaching the end. They're on top of the league, not surprisingly, because they were a bit behind back in April because they were postponing a lot of games to be prepared for European competitions. Now they're catching up and they're at the top of the table, but they're still level with, we're actually 1 point behind Viking. The top of the league is closer this year than last year. I think Bodo Glimt has fallen maybe a bit behind or just prioritizing Europe more. I don't know. This time last year they were 10 points behind, 10 points ahead. So it's tighter.
It's interesting that the league will allow them to postpone matches to prepare for European matches because that never happens in English football.
No, they've been.
And it happens in other leagues as well, like Germany and Spain, I think, do it sometimes as well.
Yeah. So they didn't play last weekend. Just played last midweek in the Norwegian Cup, which they won, but against the lower league team, so no surprise.
A bit like us, didn't make hard work of it like we did.
Well, then they were 2-1 up until injury time, so they had to do a bit of work.
It wasn't that comfortable then, which is good, I guess.
Yeah.
Of course, we've played them twice in the Europa League last season. I don't think either game we weren't particularly dominant in either match. I still think they played quite well. I think we did okay. Certainly the away game I thought was probably one of our better matches. And I think that it was that and the Frankfurt match were the 2 performances where I think that Ange Postecoglou actually changed the way he played to suit to win the matches, not lose the matches, I think was the way it looked like. So that was quite interesting, I think, from our perspective.
Yeah, and I think it was a good move. They want to have the ball, so you can just let them have the ball and just choose to make it a game of duels, which Tottenham will be superior in one against one duels because of the both the speed and the power of the Premier League players. And it was actually quite interesting. Bodo Glimt, the captain, 2 weeks ago before the first Champions League game, told the Norwegian media that they were so surprised by the Tottenham players' physical level after their meetings back in April. So they changed the whole way of training.
Oh, wow.
We need to get faster and stronger. So now they are training much more about physics than they used to. So they're like increased their levels just because Tottenham blew them away in some way. So
that's quite interesting. So
we need to get closer to that.
Yeah, we can't afford to drop our level then if they're catching us for sure.
Yeah, they might be a bit stronger. How much can they do in 4 months? Probably not that much, but still a bit. So I think our best chance was...
It's been quite a long season. They've played a lot of... Did they have to play qualifying matches for the Champions League? Or...
Yes, they played... I think they played 2 games, the playoff round, and then one before that, or maybe not. At least one.
So I think if I remember rightly, when we played before, there was quite a lot of players missing from the team. I don't think it was just the first leg. There was more missing in the first leg than the second leg, I think.
Yeah, because in the first leg they had some suspensions as well. Yeah, and they obviously came back for the second game. They are missing some players now as well. Saltnes, the guy who scored their goal last time, has been out for a couple of weeks and he won't be back. There's a little also... some doubt about the central defense. The guy who was missing last time is back, but his partner might be out.
Okay.
They also bought a new striker this summer, which is injured, so he won't play, but their original striker is also good anyway. So
yeah,
not the biggest loss, but still a guy missing who they would want to play. And also a couple of guys are niggling, so a little bit uncertain.
So you couldn't predict the lineup at the moment until tomorrow, probably anyway.
I checked the paper from the local newspaper from Bodo. There's a goalkeeper, obviously the same as last time. It's been really good for them. And the defense, they got the same on the right back. The guy who said the famous words about Tottenham playing really ass.
Just shortly before we beat them, yeah.
Yeah, and then the central defender, Odin Bjørtuft, is back. And the left back was out last time, I think he's back. And then the captain in the middle of the midfield is also playing. Then around him there's a little bit of uncertainty because that's where the injuries are kicking in.
Got it. I guess it's been, towards the end of the season, there's tired players, played a lot of games.
Yeah,
start to pick up injuries.
Didn't really have a break either because they played the Norwegian season last year finished in November, and then they kept playing European games all the way till the next season started in March. They're playing continuously for soon 1.5 years.
Wow!
Just they have we have a 3-week summer break because Norwegians like to go on summer holiday.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think they're feeling the games turning up over a long time.
I did notice that defensively, they haven't kept a clean sheet for about 6 matches.
Oh.
And I don't know if that's...
I don't know.
I don't know if that's compelling or it tells us anything or not, but I thought they were pretty solid previously. And maybe it's maybe that... How long has that centre-back been out for?
It's been a little bit back and forth. I actually played the first Champions League game 2 weeks ago, but it was taken off towards the end. Yeah, it's been some niggling injuries around the defense, and I think they've always been better going forward than defending. It might not be that much of a surprise.
Yeah.
But the first game against Slavia Prague was quite interesting. They were really lucky to get away with the 2-2 draw down in Prague. Obviously, we're going to Prague as well,
yes.
Tottenham.
So it's in the new year, isn't it? I think it's one of the last games.
It might be. Yeah, so the Czechs were really dominant. They were playing like man marking all over the field. So there was a lot of chances for both teams, but the Slavia Prague had by far more chances and bigger chances. So they went up 2-0 Bodo Glimt missed a penalty and somehow managed to get a goal back. But still, Slavia Prague had several chances to get 3-1 before.
Sounds quite open. It's like quite an open match.
It's really open before Bodo Glimt eventually got the equalizer like 5 minutes into injury time. So they got a draw, but that was a lucky one. So they struggle with the intensity of the Czech team. So
hopefully that will play into our hands as well then.
Yeah, they should, but at the same time, they've always been much better at home than away in European competitions because of the artificial grass. And that's the same actually in the Norwegian league. Most teams in the Norwegian league have artificial pitches, but whenever Bodo Glimt play an away game at the grass pitch, they struggle much more than they do at the.
And I guess that's unlike last season, but it's more like the same as the league stage last season, that it's only one-off games. Whereas typically in Europe, it used to be that you would always have the chance at a home fixture to counteract any advantage that the home team had in the away leg, but no longer. So that'd be interesting. Yeah. So I'm trying to think about the team that we might play, and I can't really pick it because I'm guessing with Romero out that will obviously be a change there. I can't tell you which fullbacks are going to play because he might rotate that again.
Danso will surely play, I guess.
Danso probably with a straight replacement.
Yeah. And I hope Porro will start because he didn't last time. And when Romero's not playing, you probably need Porro's passing skills.
Yeah. But then also do we go with Udogi again, or maybe Jed Spence on the left? Don't know. I don't know what I think. I wouldn't be worried either way, to be honest. I think both of them could do that. But then midfield's interesting because you said that that they're more attacking than defending. Do we need a two-man pivot? Do we need?
I think you actually could do more or less the same thing as last time. Just choose to sit a little bit back and aim for winning the duels 1-against-1 because you probably will because of the.
I'd back Polini against anyone at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say I'll back Kudus to beat Bodo Glimt's defenders. So probably maybe Polini and Bentancur would be a nice idea just because you can and just let them have the ball for a bit of the time and see how it goes.
Yeah, maybe we've got the pace to hit them on the break.
Yeah, or I
think that's one of the things I've been disappointed at as well. When we've not broken quickly enough when we have turned over possession. And,
that's right.
And then sometimes we lose all form of momentum. We start passing it sideways and backwards again, and it's really frustrating. When we break and we've got a numerical advantage, you really need to push it. But I feel sometimes we don't do that. But I'm hoping we start to see that.
Yeah, me too. Maybe Tsar hasn't started for a long time, so I guess he will be useful.
Yeah, maybe
his running will be nice.
Maybe he'll play in the 10 and Berva will sit on the bench. Maybe. Or maybe he plays in the pivot instead of...
Yeah, that actually might work. Just Sarenberg will with the Palinja, I think.
Because he can run with the ball. He's got better distribution generally. But he has a tendency to lose his man, or he'll get...
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe I don't know. It depends. It depends whether we want to be much more offensive, or do we want to just sit and soak up the game and try and score a couple on the break. It's fascinating. We'll see how he wants to set up, I guess.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So I think we were talking before that the weather looks pretty comparable. If anyone was expecting Arctic conditions, they're going to be very disappointed. It's probably not that much different. When I walked the dog this morning, it was 3 degrees, so it's probably not even going to be that cold for the match.
Bodo is famous for its wind, more than its cold temperatures. But tomorrow, I guess, seems like a nice autumn day with sun and not too much wind. So yeah, that should be fine.
I guess that the wind might make the long throws interesting.
Yeah, but I think
launch it straight into the net.
Another advantage.
And I guess that we've obviously played on the artificial pitch there last season, so it's not an unknown entity to a lot of the squad would have played on it already. There'll be players who haven't.
I think the advantage actually might be more about the idea of playing there and
like a psychological thing.
Yeah, and now we've done it before, so actually it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Once you're over that, it's kind of like once you've done it once, it's kind of
we know this.
It's like riding a bike.
Hopefully.
Okay, so I guess depending on whether things go well or poorly tomorrow, that sets the tone for the Leeds match at the weekend. Again, we've got the early kickoff on the Saturday, 12:30 kickoff, which isn't great. It's never good. I guess the only good thing is it's a Tuesday match, not a Wednesday match, so it's not too bad. We've had a lot of tough games at Ellen Road over the years. You always expect a passionate crowd. I've seen Leeds play a few times this season, and they actually look quite decent. They've got 8 points. They're currently 12th, 8 points. It's not bad for a promoted team. They've really taken the league by the scruff of the neck and really doing quite well. I think there are a lot of established Premier League teams that are probably panicking right now because all of the promoted teams are making a decent fist of it. So
yeah, they're really good.
Wolves and West Ham must be looking over there. We're not looking up rather than over their shoulders at the moment because they're struggling.
I haven't actually seen Leeds this year, but they look solid by the results. So yeah, but somewhere in my mind, it always comes up that Leeds away should be winnable because the last couple of times it's been like they've been a mess. So we've been scoring 4 or 5 goals.
If I remember rightly, we relegated them a couple of seasons ago, didn't we?
I think we actually did it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Harry Kane's last game.
Yeah.
Lucas Moura also scored that solo goal dribbled through a lot of people.
That's the one, yeah.
There was the one a couple of years before that as well. We also scored more goals than I expected. So I have some great memories from Leeds games recently, quite the opposite of Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get my hopes up, but maybe I should...
My concerns are twofold. If I remember rightly, this is the last match before another international break, I think.
Yeah, that's right, and that should be a concern.
That's like the Indian sign for starters. That's a problem because we've lost all of the previous ones since 2023, which is a mad statistic.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And also, I think we struggle in the match after a Champions League match as well because again, it's probably more rotation. I don't know who. I can't even begin to predict who will play. I think there'll be some similarities, but there'll be 3 or 4 players that will be different. We don't know whether we're going to carry any injuries from this match tomorrow. Always worried about playing on artificial pitches. It's not good for your knees or your ankles. So, yeah.
I was at first when I heard Romero wasn't training today, I was hoping he would play tomorrow, but after thinking about it, if you don't train on Monday, you shouldn't play on an artificial field on Tuesday. So just stay home and get well for the weekend.
I would definitely advise stay at home, watch it on the telly. We'll worry about it at Leeds on Saturday.
What I think is good is that Frank has made a habit of always rotating a couple of players. So like you don't have these 11 players are always playing and the other ones don't have a clue what's happening.
Yeah, I think we just burned players out last season. In the end, there were players who just looked like running on empty.
Yeah, and
when you have players like Bergvall and Archie Gray who played, I think, about 50 matches each last season, which is insane for players that probably were, if without the injuries, would have probably got like 10 matches as substitute last season, or maybe played a couple of the European matches, but they ended up being like effectively stalwarts of the season. But we built the squad around them in the end because they were the only ones who were fit half the time. So yeah, mad.
Terrible times. Yeah, but I think it's a good thing that 2 or 3 players or 1 or 2 are rotated every game. So then you have a lot of players who are somewhat into what's happening and you don't get a lot of players standing
already
there
a record that we've had Richarlison fit for 6 games in a row.
Yeah,
so
that's
positive, and I think maybe that's part of the rotation because he's played Tell a couple of times, hasn't he, as well? So I think that's good. I think hopefully, especially when we've got injuries already. I mean, I think that's the thing to think about, right? Is that although we're better than we were last season in terms of injuries, we still have a lot of injuries. We still have, I think, 5 players out at least.
Yeah, it's both a bit depressing and also a bit fills me with hope to think about what will happen when we get all these players back.
I mean, an embarrassment of riches, I think, in certain areas on the pitch. Like, what happens when Kulusevski comes back? Which I think may happen before the end of the year.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So, does he play as a 10? Is he competing with Kudus for the right wing slot? Interesting.
I think I was a bit annoyed by this in the summer because a lot of people were seem to be forgetting Kulusevski while talking about how we should set up the team. Yeah. Kulusevski was, I think, one of the best players in the Premier League last fall, before he was run into the ground for playing too many games. So
yeah.
If we get back in anything like his old condition, he would be a great addition.
I seem to remember there was a point last season when Glenn said something like, "We need to figure out what it is about Kulusevski and Porro, because everyone else is broken, but they just seem to be able to run all." And then almost immediately they both got injured.
Yeah,
it's like, Glenn, just don't say that anymore.
They're just a little bit better.
Yeah. So yeah, their tolerance, the red zone was a lot later than the other players, I think.
Yeah, obviously. But they are, and that's a bit of a surprise as well, because they're always running around all the time.
Yeah,
throughout the games, they have great engines. Those two.
Especially last season when Porro, because he was so far up the pitch, and had to do so many recovery runs to get back. He must have the chance of him doing a hamstring or something must have been very high, but maybe it's. But there are certain types of players, like there's kind of more athletic players.
Yeah.
Like Bale was one, like, he's basically built like a sprinter more than a footballer. Seemed to suffer a lot with those kind of injuries, but Porro's not like that. I mean, he can still get him down the pitch, but he's not that kind of physique, I wouldn't have said. But I don't know.
No one is.
No.
But Porro is always a great build. Just hope he continues that way. Yeah.
So then we've still got Dragusin, who's back training on grass as well, which is another defender to come back. I can't remember his name now. The Tokai, the Japanese centre back as well.
Yeah, Tokai, I think.
Yeah. Again, we haven't seen a single minute of him yet. Oh, we literally signed him. When we signed him, they wheeled him in on a hospital bed to sign his contract, I think. I don't know what happened. Did he trip over getting off the plane or something? I don't understand what happened.
Weird. I don't know if he arrived injured or just
first training session. He had a one-on-one with Romero or something. I don't know.
Probably. No, but a good thing if you're superstitious that when Heung-min Son arrived from Germany, he had the same injury when he arrived.
So he did. Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to start your Spurs career if you're arriving from Asia.
The good thing is, right, if we've got these players that are out now and they're coming back around the end of the year, right about the time where we have a really busy fixture period, where we'll want to rotate like over Christmas and New Year. And then, of course, you get the FA Cup starts. So if we're still in the League Cup and then you've got the FA Cup and you've got the Champions League, you're playing 2 matches every week for a long period of time, like probably all the way through till... If you're doing good till like April, May time, so we're really going to need the numbers.
Yeah, you did, and I think actually in the offensive part of the field, I think we have a lot of players, so we're pretty good stacked. We should, as you said earlier, we probably should have a couple of left wingers and one good instead of the 3. I'm
quite happy to trade 2 or 3 in for one better one.
Yeah. But in defense, we're quite short at the moment. We only have 3 centre halves, more or less. We could play Ben Davies, but would you? Probably not.
Yeah, it's. I guess it's good to have him around.
Yes,
you wouldn't want it. You wouldn't mind bringing him on for 10 minutes at the end of a match.
Yeah,
to see a game out, but you probably wouldn't choose to start him unnecessarily.
No, not against anyone. Not against the best ones, but he could play. Maybe we could play tomorrow and do a good job. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, again, he could come off the bench and it depends. He'll probably end up being on the bench. Is he in the Champions League squad? I didn't even look, to be honest.
Yes, I think so. Because I think he's in there because he can play both. Back and central defense. They need his. So and Dragusin and Takai are out, aren't they? Yeah, I think they're both out.
They're not.
So and we don't have many central defenders in the Champions League squad.
Tell's out as well, isn't he? He's not in the Champions League squad.
Yeah, Tell and Bissouma.
So we've got Kalumwani in the squad, but I don't know whether he's fit enough to play, whether he'll be on the bench. Probably Richarlison starts and he's on the bench, I'm guessing. And maybe they reverse that for the Leeds game. Yeah,
because then he's probably had a couple of more days and should be better suited to play. That makes sense.
Mind you, again, if Kalumwani's had an injury, again, same with Romero, right? Do you really want his first game back to be on the artificial pitch in Norway?
Probably not.
Maybe I just don't want to play any of them, to be honest. But unfortunately, here we are. All right, well, I guess for the two matches we talked about, so I didn't ask you at the time, so I'll ask now. What are your predictions for the match tomorrow?
I don't think there will be too many goals because that's not what we do nowadays. So I will say 2-1 Tottenham victory. That's the most boring result, I guess, but I hope so.
No, the 1-1 on Saturday, that was the most boring result. I think we might keep a clean sheet. I got this feeling. But again, I think it'd be quite low scoring. I could see a 1-0 win away. I'd be happy with that, to be honest. I think you want to win your home games. And then I'd take a draw for most of the away games. But this one, I think that if we can nick a win, like a 1-0 win, I'd be very happy with that. There aren't any bad. We're not playing any bad teams in this competition.
No, but at the same time, the difference in quality was quite big last time. That shouldn't be like equaled out now.
No, agreed. But as with all of these matches, you have to turn up, and you have to match them for effort before you can make the skill count, right? So if you don't match them for effort, they will beat you every time. It doesn't matter how good you are.
Oh.
So that's the only thing. And then how about for the Leeds match? I mean, given that it's really hard to predict the lineup, do you fancy a win?
I think I'll say to myself that Leeds is still somewhat messy, so maybe we'll even score 3 goals, but I guess they will score 1 as well, so 3-1.
Actually, we've had better. Our away matches have been better like that, and I don't think you're far off. I'd say 2-1 away.
Yeah,
but I still think we've got goals in us, and maybe they'll score. Yeah, 2-1 for me.
Yeah. Now I actually I remember that the international break is coming.
Now we'll regrets.
Yeah, but I'll
never mind.
No,
We'll let's be optimistic, and then
it's
we'll
funnier
complain about it afterwards. Wow, who was on last time? Friend from work, who's also a Benfica supporter, because they played Karabag.
Yeah,
and they got beat. They were 2-0 up, I think, and they lost. And they lost their manager over that. And now they have, with the Tottenham connection, they have Jose Mourinho as their new coach.
That's right.
So he's like, he said, I'm glad I started following Tottenham because I do not want to watch that every week.
Tough times are coming.
Yeah.
That was actually when after we got Tottenham, after our period with Mourinho as manager, and that was the same time my first kid was born. So I was like watching Tottenham games, coached by Mourinho, with a child running around all over the place. It was the most stressful thing I ever experienced. So after that, I've never been stressed at work because
compared to that,
the Mourinho kid situation was like the peak.
Also quite interesting. I'm assuming that you get quite a lot of parental leave in Norway, right? So not like here, you get basically nothing, or 2 weeks or something.
I had 14 weeks, and the mother gets the same, and then they have 14 more weeks. We can split how we want.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So that's depressing because it's really bad here.
Yeah, that's we don't know. I don't know it any other way. So it's
exactly. So it's everyone gets it. It's normal, but. Yeah, it's not as normal here, unfortunately.
Cool.
That's cool. But listen, thanks ever so much for coming on again, Magne. It's been great to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
He sends his regards, so we'll catch you again another time, I'm sure. Maybe when we can catch you again. I know we've tried a couple of times, and I've missed meeting you in London because it's usually when I've got something weird happening at home or something I've not been able to get to the games you've been at. But definitely hope we can do that again before the end of the season. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities with some of the games we've got coming up. Do you have something booked already? Or?
No, I have not, but I know I will probably be there for the last game, which is some kind of tradition. So maybe anything else as well.
We've always got that as a backstop if nothing else happens in the meantime. So appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Nice to meet you.
And thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And to close us out, come on, you Spurs.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on closer each day.